Hello, this is Amy.
Hello, this is Samantha.
We are Unfiltered AF.
Yeah.
And this episode is about motherhood and the start of motherhood and becoming a mom and all you thought it would be and all that it was. And things that people said were hard, but the things that were actually hard. Because I feel like there's some lies and misconceptions in there. And if you're a mom, you get it. If you're going to be a mom, listen. But yeah, do you want to start it off with Sam and how it was, okay, when you became pregnant?
Yeah.
Tell us, your biggest memories.
Before we do that, but let me introduce myself. Again, My name is Samantha. Hello there. We didn't get a chance to introduce ourselves. I feel like we always forget about that.
So how much should we introduce ourselves?
Well, we'll just drop our names. That's it,
We did that at the beginning.
You did? Did you drop your name?
I did.
Oh,
and
I wasn't
said your name too.
Oh yeah, I apologize. So let's get this started. Oh my gosh, I'm just all over the place. Now, my experience as being a mom, how far back should we talk about this?
I think basically let's focus on being pregnant, having the baby, and the first 6 months.
Okay.
Just early motherhood, trying to survive.
All right. So I will be honest. My pregnancy was really good. Really good. I had no issues with a lot of my entire pregnancy. If anything, it was too good. I was really scared.
I actually had a really good pregnancy.
I had a really good pregnancy, and I was so worried. I was so scared that something bad would happen. Reason why, because I had a miscarriage before. So that is a topic we can talk about another day. But yes, so I was thinking, too good to be true.
That is fair.
One thing is the fact that also my pregnancy was so comfortable. I had no issues. I was still working till the very end when it was close to being full term. Which was really nice. I really enjoyed it. But one thing is, my husband was really sad about it because he couldn't enjoy the so-called cravings that pregnant women have.
You didn't?
No, I had no cravings.
Oh.
I had no cravings whatsoever. I had no midnight cravings, no nothing. My husband was hoping I would wake up in the middle of the night crying, bawling. I was like, I'm craving for something.
Pickles and ice cream.
Yeah,
Isn't that
I've heard
a thing
about that.
You're supposed to.
No.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
You didn't?
The only as far as cravings, I all of a sudden when I was pregnant could not eat meat, and I love meat. Couldn't eat meat. Only wanted vegetables.
Oh.
Couldn't stomach the smell of ribs. I could not bring myself to eat meat, and I just basically had vegetables and dip all the time.
That reminds me. Oh yeah, that actually makes sense because for me, I think the food aversion, the only thing I couldn't do was really heavy shellfish, and I cannot have actual piece of meat. It can only be ground meat mixed with spices. Because anytime I eat anything of full steak, pork, just bite big pieces of meat, I could not swallow. I ended up feeling really nauseous. I was just I could not deal with that.
Gag reflex.
Yeah, literally. I think that was the only thing for my pregnancy. Besides that, I did end up being really weepy. One time where I was not hungry, but my husband kept insisting that I should eat. When I did feel like I was hungry, I remember that one night I was just making my husband so miserable where when he asked me, I started feeling I really want to eat, but he was what do you want to eat? I don't know. I kept saying, I don't know. And it drove him so insane. And he was oh, did you want this? You want that? Let me go buy it. And I was just no, I don't want anything. And I was just so weepy.
He really needs to work on his telepathy skills.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And he was about to leave the house. I started bawling. Oh. I just felt I just didn't want him to leave. I want him to stay by my side. And I refused to let him leave. I was you need to
help you.
Yeah, he was you need to eat. I'm I don't want to eat. I don't know. I'm hungry, but I don't want you to leave. I don't want you to go anywhere. I was oh, I was just so weepy that day.
See, men just need to know that they just need to be around us and cuddle us and support us when we're feeling emotional.
And then at the end of the day, out of nowhere, he was do you want any fruit? And I said, you know what? I just hit me. I actually want an apple. That's all I wanted. He cut me an apple and I was just really happy.
Oh, perfect.
That was it. All I wanted was an apple.
I feel like our pregnancies were pretty good then.
Yeah. Any craziness for your pregnancy?
No, the pregnancy itself was good. The only thing I remember is not being able to eat meat and only being able to eat vegetables, which is funny because my daughter is now like the biggest meat eater. And oh my God, early on, I didn't throw up, but I couldn't brush my teeth. Like, I gagged every time I brushed my teeth.
Interesting.
To the point where, like, I even went to the dentist and they gave me this special little teeny tiny baby toothbrush to try to, but even just putting it in my mouth made me want to vomit.
Ooh.
That was the hardest. I would just, like, dry heave every time I brushed my teeth, and it was a horrible experience.
Oof. I'm thankful I never had morning sicknesses as well. I was very lucky. Didn't have any of that at all.
I feel like we really scored the pregnancy portion of this.
The pregnancy portion was really good. I think the birthing part was a little surprise. I did not expect to. I was expecting natural labor. Unfortunately, I was expecting natural labor. I expected to have to push. That was like the passage of the rite of passage.
Oh, by natural, do you mean like no drugs? That's where my brain went.
Okay, I'm not that sane. I am not that crazy. I would say
those women are tough.
I know. I will say that.
So much respect. For
okay.
That.
My term of natural birth is really like just being able to push instead of having to go through.
Oh, gotcha. Then surgery.
Yeah, surgery.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not that resilient. Man, give me the drugs. I will do the epidural. Man.
That was my only birth plan. I'm like, all the drugs you're willing to give me, I will do.
Literally, I was like, drug me up. I don't care. I had laughing gas. I had...
Okay, the laughing gas does nothing.
No, it does not do anything.
Zero. It is absolute... We're allowed to swear on this, right? Bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah, when they say, I think it's just a distraction. They're like, here, just hold this mask in place.
Inhale.
Yeah.
Inhale.
It's a distraction. It doesn't
help.
actually do anything.
Do you know what was
BS.
Great? It's the epidural. The epidural really does well. But, I mean, I've heard horror stories about epidural. So, epidural itself is not the issue. It is actually not the epidural itself is the issue. It's the person that inserts the syringe is the issue. That is really the issue. Like, never once where someone said the epidural was bad. It was more of like how they inserted. When they inserted, it obviously triggered a nerve, and it obviously impacted the mother afterwards. That's based on the stories I've heard.
I feel like
that's a whole nother
that's not that.
thing. But I had an epidural. Fortunately, it worked out for me.
Mine was also fantastic. It was like extreme pain to like
the dull pain.
Oh, just wonderful. It turned into a wonderful experience. I had a speaker going with music. Oh. I was dancing by the end of it. Like, it was just, I had a nap in between while I was still in labor after the epidural.
I hate you.
Highly recommend that. I mean, do your own thing.
I hate to say this.
To the women that do it with no epidural, I want to high five every single one of you because that's hardcore.
Me too.
So impressed.
I had to say I hate you so much, Amy. It's because I didn't have that luxury to do any of that stuff.
Oh.
No, I did not.
Like, what do you mean?
Because
you went into certain...
I was in labor for 16 hours.
Ugh.
But because prior to me giving birth or going through the procedure I actually found out the fact that my midwife found out that I had high blood pressure.
Oh, so what does that do? Because I have no idea.
So high blood pressure causes the blood, it can cause some serious issues for the mother and the child.
Huh.
And it can cause possible... if worse comes to worse, serious condition where both the mother and child might not survive.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So what was the next step? So
the next step was to actually get a lot of testing done, and then originally was going to induce me early. I was pretty close to term, but they were hoping to kind of kick me in because my blood pressure was slightly high, and it was a bit of concern. Nothing of them, I felt fine, but it was just a concern that could obviously cause some serious issues with me and the baby. So fine. I was expecting to get induced. Lucky enough, I started feeling the, you know, my brain is like blank.
It's the trauma. It's blocking it.
I started feeling cramps. Like I started feeling the kicks. Not the kicks, but I started feeling the cramps. I felt like, okay, I'm feeling it. I need to give birth soon. So, when I went to the hospital, because of the fact that I had high blood pressure, I was literally not allowed to move. I was literally left on the bed, lying on there, constantly being monitored, my heart rate and my baby's heart rate. So they kept on keeping me up. I could not move. I was not allowed to move. I was literally just drugged up the entire time. I was like in and out of like sleep, and I felt really tired. And because I had the epidural, they kept every 40 minutes kept coming up to me, testing me to see whether I could feel anything. I had this ice to ensure the fact that how much feeling I have from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's basically all they did every 40 minutes, making sure who I was, asking me questions. What's my name? What's my birth?
Are you lucid?
Like, are you losing? Yeah, lucid and everything. Every 40 minutes to monitor my heart rate because the fact that I had high blood pressure and they were worried about the baby's heart rate. So the thing is, my body would refuse to, my body or my uterus refused to crown. It took over 60 minutes they totally tried to break my water. They tried to break my water, hoping the fact that I would, I would actually open up at least 5 centimeters, which it did. And then at the end of the day, they could only get me to open up, my uterus would only open up only 8 centimeters.
Oh, wow.
That's it. And people want to know, in order to properly give birth, you should be at least, you have to be 10 centimeters dilated. 10 centimeters dilated. Yeah, in order to for the doctors to say, yeah, you're ready, you should get ready to push. Funny thing is,
your uterus was not having it.
Even though my daughter was supposed to, she was like ready, she was like, she gave me signals that she wanted to come out. But that little sucker did not come out the way she wanted to. And the funny thing is the doctor had to go in my uterus and check. And they said, oh my God, her head is so tiny. It'll be fine. She'll be fine. There's no problem. It'll be a smooth pregnancy.
Okay, so when did they decide to just get her done?
They like at the end of the day, they thought it was naturally she'll come out because they were hoping the epidural, me having my water break would trigger me to actually dilate bigger. But unfortunately, we waited for 9 hours. Nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. The biggest, the biggest I could get myself dilated was only 8 centimeters, and apparently she actually started moving while she wasn't in the right position. And that was something I wasn't aware of, and no one told me about this. My husband, he was next to me, clearly. It was literally didn't know anything. He was just sleeping half of the time. I was just because he couldn't do anything. I wasn't screaming. I wasn't in pain. I wasn't super in pain. But I will say one thing about myself I thought it was really funny. I hear all these women screaming their head off in the hospital. I was so scared. I don't want to be one of those women.
No.
And it was just grueling hearing them scream their head off. So I told myself not to scream.
Sometimes I wish that I was that screaming woman, because I feel like, would that give you some relief?
No.
Or you know what? The screaming women are the women that didn't get the epidural.
Oh.
No. I feel like I'm frightening people.
Yeah, you are.
Because I feel like I would have been the screaming woman. Actually, before I got the epidural, when I was in a lot of pain, it was silent tears.
Oh, you know what? I was close to that too. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, the screaming as you're giving birth in the ward, I guess.
Yeah.
The screaming around you it's frightening. It's an experience in itself.
It's an experience in itself. And I was really scared. I did not want to be one of those women screaming their head off, scaring everyone. I didn't want to, let's just say I didn't want to participate in that. I didn't want to add to that fear already on its own. So when I felt all the pain and every time I feel a contraction happening, that's what it is, a contraction. I was like, oh,
we got there.
Yeah. When one of those big contractions, I literally was just holding on to like the railing of my bed and just breathing. It was like, and exhaling. And then the nurse was like, I always had a nurse next to me because I had to monitor my heart rate. She's like, you can scream if you want. And I was like, no, it's okay. She was like, you're one of the most, you know, very...
You were composed.
I was like, you're one of the most polite patients we've ever had. I'm like, thank you, because I really didn't want to put you through that. So I always, even in my most vulnerable moment of giving birth, getting ready for childhood.
How you were raised really stands out.
Like really stand out. I was like, no, I am not going to cause any inconvenience to anyone. And I'm not going to scream my head off. Not for that. No way. I was just like, nope, it's okay. She was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, no, you don't have to be sorry. You have every right. You have every right, queen, to scream your head off. He was like, no.
I want to know if this lady's had a baby.
Nope, like not going to scream my head off.
Seen a lot, but I was like, yeah, she knows.
So what happened was I end up, because I didn't have anything to eat or anything, at the end of the day, the doctor came back and was like, it's been 16 hours. We can wait, but just saying, you're going to have to go through an emergency C-section. We have to take this baby out. And I'm just like, what? And it's like, if you want, you can do it now or do it later. We can wait. I was like, my husband and I were like with each other, yeah, let's take her out. Take her out right now. I'm like, let's get this over with. I'm just so tired. I just want to sleep. I just want her out. And then, so that's what happened. But they already said they were getting ready to like ship me over to surgery. But apparently there was a delay and there was an emergency. So my doctor had to attend another patient. And so when they told me about me getting surgery, I ended up getting really scared because I've never had surgery before that's that big. So I ended up getting freaked out. I ended up throwing up. I had nothing to throw up besides apple juice.
Oh.
Yeah, literally had nothing to throw
visual.
Up. Yeah. I had nothing to throw up but apple juice. And I was like, because they even had something for me. I was like, and they said, actually, no, you can't eat that. I'm like, great, thanks. Oh. Why did you bring me this food? And so they gave it to my husband to eat. I'm like, and it made me hate him more at that moment. Yes, I'm like, I'm so tired, hungry. I wanted to sleep. I just want to get this over with. And I will say, like, it happened really fast. Once we got myself in surgery, it happened really fast. One thing is, I will say the anesthesiast, he put way too much anesthesia, a bit too much, that I ended up getting nauseous.
What?
I ended up feeling nauseous. Yeah.
Love like no morning sickness.
Like no more. During my and then he was right above my head when this happened, and my midwife was there, and then he was like, "How you feeling?" I was like, "I feel nothing, but is this normal? I'm feeling nauseous." Like, oh, okay, let me shoot you a bit of more anti-nausea. And
did that help?
That helped.
Oh.
But at the same time, I felt, and then afterwards, I'm like, do you feel anything? I'm like, kind of. And he had to add a little bit more anesthesia to me. So I was so drugged up.
And I heard that, like, you're awake during this.
Yes, I was 100% awake. 100% awake.
But you have, like, the sheet covered.
I had the sheet covered.
Did your husband see what was happening?
You know what? The doctor was really fast. He was extremely fast. By the time, he actually already started opening it up before my husband even came in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's impressive.
Which is impressive. He was really fast. He was really quick and everything. And so by the time he even say, are you ready? Like, when the anesthesiast already got everything, he asked me how I felt. The doctor who helped me who actually did the C-section, literally already started without even me kind of like saying, yeah. By the time I felt nausea, it was already at it already. Huh. Yeah, it was really fast, amazingly fast. But yeah, that happened. And then when I came back out of post-surgery, I felt so relieved that I got to sleep 40 minutes. Yeah, I was so good. I'm like, I needed the sleep. I didn't care where she was. I just knew my husband was with her. I'm like, I was okay. I just needed sleep.
Isn't it? I know I'm like getting ahead of us here, but isn't it the weirdest thing when they let you go home with this baby? Doesn't it feel like it should be illegal, or you should like maybe take a course first, but they're like, here, like a day, 2, 3, whatever, yours was probably a little bit longer. But
yeah, I was there 3 days.
Yeah, and then they just hand you this tiny, innocent, completely helpless
child.
Yeah.
I was scared.
They're like, okay, you got this. Go for it.
Yeah, I was really scared.
This is yours now.
Yeah, literally, I did feel that way. And then they rolled me into the room. Yeah, that when I was actually once I would say if you could, good advice if you could, and if you have the money and if it's available, ask for a private room.
You didn't have a private room?
I didn't get a private room. I had to. It's better that I mean, I had a roommate. You know, I had someone with me. Better than having to be in a room of 4 women because there were certain
Oh
rooms
my
that
God.
you would, depending on availability and how much you're willing to pay. Some moms would be in sharing a room with 4 women. Some will be half, or you get a private room.
Wow.
I asked for a private room, couldn't get it, so I had a roommate. Luckily, the first night, my roommate didn't arrive until the following day. So I at least had one night to myself, which was great. But the funny things that happened on the other side was hilarious, and I felt so sorry for the mother. Felt so sorry for the mother because she was so vulnerable and helpless at that time.
Was she alone?
She wasn't alone, but her husband was such a heavy sleeper, and she was also same thing with me. She had to go through a C-section.
Yeah.
She went through a C-section. She had some health issues as well, and her baby was also really tiny, and
Aww.
she ended up needing. Her husband was really tired, and the baby started crying. Right, we were on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Her baby was starting to cry. She couldn't get up. She couldn't get up to pick up the baby. It was crying. It was fussing. Her husband was sound asleep, snoring.
It is crazy once you have a baby what your husband can sleep through.
Yeah.
Like, we wake up
but
because of hormones to everything.
Yes, and it was kind of bad because my husband and I, he was readily awake. He was very attentive to our needs. But you hear the wife was saying, Johnny, wake up, Johnny, wake up, Johnny. And then she kept asking, and he just was, you can hear him snoring like crazy. She was so like frustrated. She kept saying, Johnny. And she tried calling him on his cell phone.
Oh my God.
Did not work. And then eventually what she had to do, she had to like
throw something at him?
No, she didn't. And we were about to.
approach.
My husband and I were looking at each other.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I should go over there. But at the same
throw
time,
the
it's
chair over the wall.
or something with a ladder. But we just kind of felt like we were intruding, right? It's such a vulnerable situation. So she was smart. She actually paged a nurse.
Yes. I'm like, that's why you're in the hospital.
Yeah, she had to page her nurse. It was embarrassing because she can hear. It's like, and the nurse came. It's like, oh, is there something wrong? Is there something happening? Can you just wake up my husband and ask him to, can you wake him up and help me with our daughter? Because she's like, I can't reach her. And she's like, okay. And then she literally, you hear it, like the nurse, like, excuse me, sir. And it took him a few times.
I mean, good for him for being such a good sleeper in this situation.
Yes. But it was sort of embarrassing. And he goes like, what? And he goes like, your wife's calling you. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then he was like, what did you need? It's like, I tried calling you for help and asking you to attend to our daughter's need because she's crying. I can't help because she literally was bedridden. She could not move.
Oh gosh.
And it was like a hilarious thing, but I felt really bad for that new mom.
Yeah, and then to get to now we have the babies home.
How was your, like, you were able to get in and out?
I totally forgot until this. Was I able to get in and out?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had her. I did have contractions for days leading up to it.
Oh, that sucks.
And then when I was finally in the hospital, ready to have the baby, the anesthesiologist kept getting called to other places.
Ooh.
So I was going through the most extreme contractions. Like, I was silent crying. I was pushing that gas mask into my face to the point where, like, the bridge of my nose was starting to bleed.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I was in so much pain. And then finally I was able to have the epidural. And it was like the heavens parted. And yeah, like I said, once I finally was able to give, like, I had a little bit of a nap. Once I was finally able to give birth, we had, like, a speaker in the room. We had a private room, thankfully.
You're really rubbing it in my face right now.
But we had a private room. I was like, to be honest, when my daughter was being born, we had Eye of the Tiger playing, and I was, like, dancing, and it was great.
See, I didn't get that.
Great experience.
Did not
great
get
experience.
that.
And then the doctors were amazing. The nurse was amazing. And the nurses were amazing. And then, the next day we got sent home. Like, nothing crazy happened. We got sent home. And I remember we left the hospital thinking, like, why are they giving us this responsibility? Like, where is this course that we need to take? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Got home. She was an angel in the hospital room. Like, she slept really well.
Aww.
She fed really well.
Yeah.
Angel.
Mm.
We got home and we went to go to bed. She started crying. And before you leave the hospital, they're like, if there's an issue, call the nurse's line, which is 811.
Yeah.
We're like, okay. Like, well, we're not going to need this. Go home. And our daughter starts crying. And she cried scream cried. If you have a baby, you understand this cry.
Yeah.
Scream cried for 8 hours straight.
Oh my gosh.
Like, through the night. We were up and she was screaming and we couldn't stop her screaming, and it was intense screaming. And I remember about, like, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 hours in, we tried everything, like all the, feed her, change her diaper, whatever. She's just tired. She needs to sleep.
Yeah,
exactly.
Whatever method you could come up with.
She wouldn't stop crying, so we called the nurse line. And the nurse line, they really give you, at the time, it's probably better now, but at the time, they really give you no information. They ask you 50 different ways if you're beating your child, shaking your child, gonna hurt your child, gonna hurt yourself. And then at the end, when that was all covered and they realize you're not gonna strangle your child, they're like, okay, well, like, take her to the emergency room, like, take her back to see the doctor. And we're like, we just came from the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, we know she's fine. Just like, tell us what to do to calm her down.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, yeah, you just go back to the hospital and see the doctor. We're like, no. Like, or like, she's upset. Anyways, shortly after that phone call, she calmed down. But that was, we were like, my husband and I were looking at each other. We're like, what did we do? What did we get
ourselves into? Yeah.
And then the breastfeeding was its own battle.
Yes, the breastfeeding, that is
a
challenge.
About the labor. Everybody talks about the pregnancy. I feel like nobody talks about the breastfeeding. Nobody talks about how hard it is. How hard it is to get your baby to breastfeed. How painful it is.
The psyche behind it drives me AWOL. Let's talk about your breastfeeding experience.
Oh, man. So, again, nobody tells you really how hard it is. How hard it is to get them to latch. How consistently you have to do it. Like, I remember before I had the baby, I borrowed a breast pump from my sister-in-law. And I remember having this conversation with my husband. I'm like, okay. I am going to pump so that you can get up in the middle of the night and feed the baby too. So that I don't have to get up all the time and feed the baby, so that you can help out. Little did I know, like, that's not a thing. Like, then I had the baby, started breastfeeding. You have to do it, I forget what it is. Is it like every 3 hours or
every
something?
3 to 4 hours, yeah.
It's a lot. And to do it properly, you need to kind of do each side. So like 20 minutes each side, I remember was the thing.
Yeah. And
you can't sleep through the night. So luckily I had a friend early on talk to. I didn't have very many friends at all with babies, but I had one friend with a baby. And she told me early on, she's just like, you cannot skip a feeding. If you skip even one feeding, if you sleep through the night, if you don't get up every 3 hours, like, if you don't make sure you're doing this consistently, even if you miss one feeding, your production drops off a mountain.
Wow.
And you can't get it back. So I was absolutely diligent. But in knowing that information, I was able to produce a lot. I was very consistent in my production because I did not miss feeding. If my daughter slept more than 3 hours through the night, I'd wake her up.
Wow.
And I'd feed her. Or if she was going to miss a feeding, I'd pump in that time.
Yes.
Like, I would always pump at the same time every day. If she, for some reason, wasn't around. Do you need to do something?
No.
Oh, I would make sure to pump at that time. I drove with my breast pump. I hiked with my breast pump. I went to dinners with my breast pump.
Like literally that was like your buddy.
Yeah,
Literally
like,
your best friend.
My boobs ruled my life.
That was your best friend. Your pump was your best friend
Yeah.
for that like first how many months or years that you've had.
But like just to keep the
Yeah.
consistency.
Yes.
And so say I was to let my husband feed our daughter in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I then realized that if I was to let him feed our daughter at night, I would still have to get up
Yes.
and pump at the same
Yes.
time.
Yes.
And not only are you getting up to pump, then you have to clean all the pumping equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like extra work instead of just like picking up your baby, feeding, putting your baby back to bed.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, obviously I resented the crap out of my husband and I was very upset as I was like some nights. I mean, it's beautiful to breastfeed your child, all that. Like it was nice having that moment.
Yes, that
But
like skin to skin action.
To sit in bed while your husband's like sleeping peacefully next to you, you just want to like stab him in the face. Or maybe you didn't, but that's what I wanted.
It depends on the circumstances and your partner, I will say that. That sounds, I hate to say this, that sounds horrible. I swear we're coming off as like, no, like the stories of hell of being a mother, it's bad, but we promise you
there
it's not
so
bad.
Many good parts
it's not bad. There's wonderful things. But right now, this episode or this phase of motherhood,
it's hard.
It's hard. I just hearing what you describe, I'm so like just hearing. I feel the dread. I feel the dread so much. I hate that for you. I hate it.
It was beautiful breastfeeding. Like I do have to say, it was like this connection time with my daughter that my husband didn't get.
Would never be able to bond and get that.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with you.
I feel like she likes him more now that she's older, but whatever. And then me.
Touche is the same thing for mine as well. Yeah. No, I like just hearing it brings so much dread. I'm just like, oh, I hate that. I would never want that. And even now, I'm just like, oh,
the blisters,
sucks.
the rawness.
So my breastfeeding journey was definitely different from yours. I put a lot. So like you said it to yourself, the fact that a lot of people kind of shame you in breastfeeding.
Yeah.
If you don't breastfeed, it ends up being such a negative connotation. And I actually put a lot of emphasis on the importance of breastfeeding because I felt like that's what signifies as being a mother. That's what signifies as being a good mother. That's how I interpret it in my head, that there's no one but me to be able to nurture and provide nutrients for my child, to be able to feed my child. There's no one else but me. And that was my one job, my one priority, and I did not do it. I had such a mental breakdown on breastfeeding because of exactly what you just told me, Amy. All of those things was something I could not do. I could not deal with like the first 3 to 6 or years of my life, just focusing, actually the first 3 months. The idea is focusing on just feeding, cleaning, cleaning. Like there was not I did not want that. I felt like that was my life. There was nothing beyond that. And I started hating myself. I started resenting this entire process. I was going crazy. But at the same time, I still tried. I still pumped. I love breastfeeding my child when she was on me. And yeah, the latching and everything pain, that's one thing. It sucked ass. But but the pumping is what drove me. I hated the pumping. I felt like I was I was a cow.
The milk cow phase.
Like milk cow phase. I felt like I was being my breasts were udders, that I was being pumped. And
that sound.
Yes, the sound was like, it drove me off the wall. Like I felt like I was nothing but milk production. I had no other purpose to my child. Like I have no existence but to pump milk. And that was a very lonely feeling for me. I was so depressed at that time. But at the same time, I was encouraged to, keep trying. If not, it's bad because the nutrition and the value behind it is so good for your child. And that's one thing I wanted to give to my child, and I couldn't do it. And then on top of it, she also had, milk protein issue. She had a milk protein allergy, whereas any type of cow milk protein that she's been consumed directly from me, right? Because you could, or either she do formula, was
Really?
milk. It's like the cow protein, the protein itself was actually causing her to have her intestines start bleeding.
So like your milk.
So we actually, because I couldn't actually fully pump yet, I wasn't consistent enough. And one thing is, I will say my partner was amazing. He actually did not put any pressure on me. My husband did not put any pressure for me to breastfeed or anything or whatever I wanted, I can do. He kept trying to encourage me to fall asleep at night. So I never pumped at night. It was really great.
That is so sweet.
But as you mentioned, if I didn't have the consistency, I wouldn't be able to provide the full amount of milk. But, it didn't matter for my husband. He says, we're okay with formula. So we did. We kind of did more formula than breast milk. If I could feed, great. If not, that's not a big deal, which was fine. But unfortunately, in the 3 weeks in when she arrived, we were feeding her formula, which also had cow milk.
Oh.
And from my cow milk and also me drinking and consuming milk and soy, she ended up, unfortunately, developing cow milk protein allergy. And so her bowel was bloody, really bloody. It was scary. It was a very traumatic thing I've ever been, like being a first-time mom. I had never realized that was going to happen. I've never seen so much blood. Why is she like pooping out of blood? It was scary. And she was crying, her tummy hurt, and I felt so vulnerable. And I felt so bad when we were in the hospital trying to figure out what was wrong with her. A doctor said she probably is allergic to the milk. And I'm like, okay. And I felt terrible because she was hungry.
So what? Yeah.
So while she was in the hospital, waiting for the hospital, I still had to feed her the milk, the formula, because she was hungry. But at the same time, I was struggling with I'm harming my child because I have to feed her. She's hungry, but I'm feeding her a milk protein, a formula that is actually harming her at the same time.
So what is the answer to this?
And then I couldn't feed her. And then I tried breastfeeding her, but I ended up realizing because I consumed soy, that was also harming her.
Oh my God.
So I was in this predicament until the doctor finally gave me, with all the tests, gave me a hypoallergenic formula for her.
Wow.
But that took I think, how long we were in the hospital? We were in the hospital for, I think, a good 12 hours before we found out how to resolve this issue.
Wow.
And
when your baby's feeding so much, that's...
Yeah, and she had to be fed every 3 hours. Oh. The thing is, I felt so alone. I felt so sad. I felt like it was my fault. I put my daughter in that situation. I was harming my daughter. It's a very hard psychological thinking. Like as me as a mom, trying to be the best for being the first time mom, being a good mom. I couldn't do that. I ended up harming my daughter. And I had to it was really hard because I felt like that was what makes me supposed to be a good mom, but I ended up harming her. And I tried really hard to cut out all the dairy, all the soy. But unfortunately, there's that selfishness and the psychological thing, whereas I couldn't do it. I couldn't cut everything out. I couldn't cut out dairy, I couldn't cut out soy because my diet is all soy-based. But I felt like I was being really selfish by not cutting anything out. But I couldn't do it because I was so depressed that I couldn't do anything about my daughter. I couldn't eat anything. I felt like that was no life. I hated pumping already. And you're depriving me of trying to cut down on what I eat. I just couldn't do it. I was just so depressed. Mm-hmm. So depressed. And then luckily I had a good amount of people surrounding me saying, you know what, Sam, it's not that big of a deal. It's better that she's fed. It's better. It doesn't matter the source. It's better at least she's fed. And that I could love her and show her my love, not through breastfeeding, but through other ways, shower her with love, nurture, all that.
Yeah.
So that took a long time for me to accept the reality is I don't have to be a good mom I don't have to breastfeed to be a good mom. Not at all. Oh, thank you. So, so that was like one of the hardest things for me when it came to what it's like for me in my motherhood journey. It was so hard. It was so hard to let go. And then I got a lot of reassurance. It's like, hey, you know what? I was a formula baby. It's not that big of a deal. In Hong Kong, if you're well known, there most moms actually never breastfeed their kids.
Really?
They actually have a wet nurse. It's
What
common.
is a wet nurse again?
So a wet nurse is actually a mother that has recently had a baby that's willing to actually to actually share her milk and feed your child.
Huh.
Yeah, so it was very common that a lot of the mothers in Hong Kong never actually had to breastfeed their children.
My boobs would have appreciated that.
So, and another thing was the fact that, formula's fine. Formula's totally
Formula
fine.
is fine. Like, they make the most incredible quality formula, and I think the pressure that we're under as women to breastfeed, like, there's so much pressure to do it. Like, you're supposed to do all these things to be a good mom.
Yeah.
And breastfeeding's like just what you're supposed to make yourself, and it's just supposed to be so easy, or at least that's the idea that I got behind it. But it's just supposed to show up, and your body's just supposed to make it, and your baby's just supposed to drink it, and it's this natural thing that nobody tells you is like, it's so hard. And not only is it so hard, the stereotype is still very much there, especially amongst other women.
Yeah. I also had felt that way when I was actually in the hospital, where they had nurses coming in to show me how to breastfeed, that you should always keep trying, don't stop, even though I wasn't actually being able to get any at all. I was really struggling. But they kept pushing, encouraging. It's like, no, keep trying. And I hated myself for that, because I really associated myself as being, I was the only caregiver. If I don't breastfeed my child, then who am I? How am I any different from any parent coming in or a dad? Because I felt like the defining moment was me providing food and nutrients for my daughter is only me, only I'm responsible, and I failed that as a mom, and that's how I associated myself with that, and it was really hard thing for me to get over. It took a long time. It was really hard for me. But I will say, once I let that go, I was so much happier.
Yeah.
It was such a huge relief and burden off my shoulder. How once I let that concept and mentality go, it made things so much easier.
And you could get rest, and you could have peace of mind, and your daughter would be fed with something that her stomach was accepting.
Yeah, I mean, even after we found out she had the cow milk protein allergy, I still wanted to make myself, I really want to prove myself the fact that I can still breastfeed. I could prove to her, because I really want the nutrients. But every single time when I make a slip up, if I go out to eat, same thing happens. When I have this milk, she drinks it, same thing happened. And again, I felt like, wow, this is so selfish of me, that I wanted to try to prove myself to be a good mom. I'm, again, putting my daughter's health on the side and endangering my daughter because I was negligent. But yet at the same time, I refused to cut down and change my diet. And it made me feel like I'm a terrible mother for that. And that really was such a hard thing for me. But once I completely stopped the idea of breastfeeding and formula, it just really helped me a lot.
It's interesting to think of how many things as moms that are viewed as that we feel selfish for doing, or that we feel incapable of doing, or that we feel like we're failing at, just because in society as women we're supposed to do these specific things and be this specific way. And yes, I know a lot has changed, but we still have all of these expectations. Mm-hmm. And not only do we have all of these expectations on us, women really judge each other for these expectations.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know there's a lot more that we wanted to get into with this episode. We wanted to get further into it, but I feel like this alone is such an important thing to talk about, because I don't remember anybody talking about breastfeeding, but I do remember how hard it was afterwards. And I do remember like all the judgments I used to get and all the opinions I used to get.
Yeah.
And you feel like a failure in so many different ways.
I definitely hear all my friends like who were on more the natural path of like, breastfeeding is best, keep at it. And it was really hard for me to listen to, social media and see how much breastfeeding was such a big thing on my platform that I couldn't, shuffle any of that out and really listen to myself and listen to the people who actually didn't breastfeed their child and said, hey, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. As long as they're fed, that's the best thing you can do for your child. I think, like I said, the worst thing that made me felt like I felt like I was physically harming my child. And it was like for my own self-best interest of trying to prove myself the fact that to be a good mom. And in the end, I was literally at the detriment of my child's health. And I felt like I hate the feeling that I was harming my own child and I was failing. That was the worst part for me in this breastfeeding journey. That's why I have so much, I hate to say this, hatred for breastfeeding.
I hate the pump. I mean, there's no part of me that wants to just jump up and do it again.
Yeah.
My boobs are so happy it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much behind it. There's so much to it. And
did you want to kind of share is there any kind of funny stories or anything about breastfeeding or anything? Because clearly what I said, I don't have any funny experiences or whatnot. So maybe you can lighten the mood to cheer me up a little bit.
to end this episode, maybe I'll share one story about my breast pump, which is super funny.
Yeah.
So about, I guess, 3 weeks in, I almost burned down my house.
What?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have a baby, you get it, but you don't really sleep that much. And I was just exhausted. My grandparents were visiting from Alberta, and I was breastfeeding nonstop. I was obviously a new mom, still trying to gain my footing. I was really deep into the baby blues. That can be another episode.
Yeah.
But I was just not in a good headspace. I was really tired. It was actually my birthday, and my grandparents wanted to take my husband and I out for dinner.
Yeah.
So they did. So obviously I breastfed my daughter beforehand, and then, we dropped my daughter off at my husband's mom's place to watch her while we went for dinner. And I pumped right before we went for dinner. Okay. Because, you only have that small window before your boobs are hard as rock.
Yeah,
you want to die of pain.
Yeah, definitely.
So I pumped right before we left, and we were going to the keg that night, and it was a nice dinner. And anyways, so I'm pumped, threw all my stuff in a boiling pot of water to sanitize it all, because I throw it in a pot of boiling water and then put it off to the side and dry it before I use it again. Anyways, pump before we leave, go to the keg, have this dinner. I think we were gone for 2 hours. Come home, and we open our door. We picked up our daughter on the way. We come home and open our front door, and the smoke just starts billowing out of the house.
Oh my god!
And my husband's my husband's obviously freaking out. We keep our daughter outside on the lawn, and he runs in and he sees I don't know how it didn't start on fire, but the stove, the pot, obviously all the water boiled out of the pot.
Yeah,
it was full of breastfeeding gear. It was full
the plastic.
Of all the stuff.
Oh
the
my
plastic
gosh.
was gone. The plastic had completely melted and evaporated and was gone.
Ooh.
And just above the stove, the hood of the stove was just black.
Yeah.
There was soot all over our house. Ooh. I imagine from the burnt plastic. I don't know. But I remember that night, scrubbing the walls, and every room in our house, I just scrubbed the black off the crib. It was a slimy black sludge.
So it literally, all that soot and everything actually covered, just billowed the entire house.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So, I just scrubbed the ceilings, the walls, the crib, the baby's room. We obviously had to stay out of the room, out of the house for quite some time. But
The fumes.
yeah,
Ooh.
like scrubbing everything top to bottom
Jeez.
for hours, and I'm already exhausted.
Oh, wow.
Breastfeeding
Poor
the baby
you.
on
Oh
the
my
lawn.
gosh. This is real shit right here, man. Like,
But I
seriously.
remember Daryl being, because we're both exhausted. And I remember him being upset at me because obviously I left this stove on this pot on the stove, and it could light up, and I was being really short with him, and I was getting pissed off, and then he's like, why are you yelling at me? And I'm like, and he's like, why are you mad at me? I'm like, I am not mad at you, I am mad at myself. And then I just started bawling because I'm like, I'm exhausted, I'm lost, I'm in the middle of the baby blues, I feel like a completely different person. And now I almost burnt down our house, and now I'm scrubbing walls and cribs, and it was just a really horrible time. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
I feel like the baby blues, all that could be another episode. I feel like we're already kind of running time on this one, but there's a lot to motherhood, and there's a lot of things to consider. And I think back to the breastfeeding, like if you want to, if it's formula, if it's breast milk, your baby's fed.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
Yeah.
And I know now, after having 2 kids, and they're a little bit older, my sanity is the most important thing. Like, my peace of mind, sleeping, getting the space that I need in my own head to then take care of my kids properly.
Yeah, I think sleep is such a big thing. And I think one thing I love my partner. I'm so thankful about my partner. Like, he gave me the right to sleep. He put my health and priority above everything else, did not shame me, did not question me, totally encourage me to not, if I didn't want to pump or breastfeed, it wasn't a big deal.
And I think that's why my journey was also so good, because my husband and I had that conversation beforehand, and going into it, we were both like, if we have to formula feed, fine. If we have to, if breastfeeding works out, we didn't know how hard it was when we were talking about it, but if it works out, it works out. And if it doesn't, we're good with formula. But I know so many friends whose husbands weren't okay with formula, or they weren't okay with formula, or society's not okay with, like, your baby's fed.
Yes, that's true.
Sleeping is...
and like you said, I think one thing my husband also said that made a lot of sense was, if you don't have enough sleep, you can't take care of your child.
No.
That was the biggest thing. And one thing is, my husband was very, very, like, prior to his wife, I need you to sleep so that you can properly take care of a child when I go to sleep. So that we do a tag team.
Oh, good man.
That was such a good advice, and I love him for that. And I think that was the biggest takeaway when it came to us being a parent, was being able to lean on each other and really respect how precious sleep is to ensure the safety of our family. And that was,
Well, we are getting kicked off of this computer because
we're getting kicked out of our time running out.
I feel like we could talk about this all day, and we'll definitely have another episode on motherhood, and kind of, the next step, the first year, is having friends as moms, like just all the different stages, finding yourself again. But that will be for another day. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we look forward to seeing you again and hearing your stories about
please share.
Pregnancy.
Love
and,
to hear about
God,
that.
Breastfeeding. Share the breastfeeding stories.
Yes.
Let other women know.
Please.
And have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and we will see you soon. Bye.